Are you looking to jump into a new career, possibly learn new skills? Or maybe you already have a career and you want to be able to have more opportunities come to you, so you need to ramp up your knowledge on a new topic. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that, and not just how to do the skill, but actually become an expert in it within 90 days. My name is Ariel Herrera, your fellow data scientist with the AnalyticsAriel channel, where we bridge the gap between real estate and technology. Although today's focus isn't on real estate, it does tie in to be a high income earner, and in order to do that, you need to be ramping up your skills pretty frequently. So if you enjoy this content, please subscribe to our channel. As well, follow us on social media. All right, let's get started. Let's imagine that you're a college student, a senior who just graduated. You are so excited that all the hard work and money that you put into this career that you want to go into has now been all worth it because you have your degree in hand. You're thinking, this is it. I'm done studying forever. I am never opening a textbook or going to a lecture hall ever again. Well, sad to say, this is actually incorrect. Learning does not stop. It actually only continues on from this point. Enter the continuous learning cycle. To keep up with advancements of today's world, especially with technology, you need to constantly keep yourself updated with new skills and knowledge just to even remain relevant in the workforce. According to a survey, 54% of employees have said that it is essential for them to get training and develop new skills throughout their work life in order to keep up with the changes in the workplace. So how does this work? First comes a disruptor. So let's imagine that you are in sales and you do a lot of cold calling in order to get leads. Well, now enter the chatbot. The chatbot works off of natural language processing using machine learning and artificial intelligence, and it's able to handle these calls or actually go make these calls on its own. Or perhaps maybe you hire, or their company hires, people from the Philippines to do things at a third of the cost. That also is a disruptor. Now, what do you have to do next? You need to train yourself on new skills. What is actually in demand? Maybe now, because less people are generating leads through cold calling, there's more interesting ways of doing so. Maybe using AI and machine learning, or maybe being able to focus and hyper-focus on certain groups. So you're starting to learn these things. And as you finish your training, your role essentially changes. So yes, maybe you're still in sales, but what you're doing on a day-to-day has changed. And the biggest challenge here is between the training and the role change, being able to get the training done before the role change happens, and then you don't have the skills and you become obsolete. And it also makes a good point that you need to be looking out for disruptors at all times. So because of these three, it means that once you're in a career, or at that, even a side hustle, a hobby, things are continuously changing and your skills need to adapt. So what am I proposing here in order to be able to be an expert and to make sure that you're able to tackle this continuous learning cycle? Well, I say that there's a 90-day path to become an expert in nearly any skill. And the reason why I believe this is because I've done it myself. So I originally wasn't a data scientist. I came out with a business degree from Rutgers University and learned coding on the job, as well as data science. So the way I did that was by using all these resources that I'm going to go through. And that's really helped me not just to know the lingo, but to actually implement it, do the work, and be a leader in this space. So I'm going to go over the 12-week process. We're going to hit news, podcasts, YouTube, books, self-project, all these different sources in order for you to get to that expert level. So let's start off with the first 2 weeks. So let's imagine again that you are someone in sales and you're looking to get more knowledge of a certain area within sales. So what I would suggest first is you want to get a high level understanding of what's going on in your domain and also trends and topics that are happening. So to do that, I suggest to find websites. So go on Google, find a website, a couple of them that post three to four websites that post daily. And the reason why you want things to post daily is so that it's more up to date. And I would bookmark these websites and reference them for a later point. So now what are you doing with these websites? You should be spending 10 minutes a day in order to read the headlines and start getting into the actual meat of the article. I say start reading the headlines first, just so you can get a sense of what's actually going on. And maybe this new skill may not be of interest for you down the line, and you'll notice this just by going into reading news articles versus spending, thousands of dollars in a course. Great. So now that we've been reading news titles to get really familiar for a topic, we have that foundation that now we can build upon. So in parallel, while we're still reading news articles, spending 10 minutes a day on it, we should start to move into podcasts. Podcasts are on-demand internet radio talks. You're probably familiar with them. You have Apple Podcasts, you have Spotify that you could go on, Stitcher. There's many different sources that you could point towards. And how they differ from news articles is that they actually add a lot more depth. So instead of a news article that you read that's a quick scan and maybe only supposed to capture your attention for a minute or two, podcasts are meant to listen to for longer periods of time, so you actually get a lot of knowledge from leading experts. So some suggestions when listening to podcasts that I do is I usually do it during my day. So if I'm working, I'll have podcasts on while I'm coding. I'll also have podcasts on while I'm cleaning and even when I wake up to brush my teeth. So you're able to actually learn while you're doing other things, so you're not just stopping your active day. And what you're going to gain here is opinions and insights from experts. The next step that you want to do while you're also listening to podcasts daily is you're going to progress from just news articles to blog articles. And what really is good here is that blog articles are, again, more in depth and you're getting more perspective. So a lot of times I see that news articles are very neutral in the tone, not really opinion based. But if you wanted to end up being domain expertise or really be, again, an expert in the skill, you want to have opinions around it. So similar to a podcast, you're getting these opinions, and some of the best sources, I personally love Medium in order to, for programming specifically, to learn about what's going on, the latest releases from Python, from natural language processing, etc. And what I suggest is that you look for blogs that post at least bi-monthly so you can get some up-to-date topics. You want to set 2 to 3 websites on your bookmarks for your browser and read at least one blog article a day. So you're listening to at least 45 minutes of podcasts a day and you're reading one blog article a day. And the last thing that you're doing in parallel with all this in weeks 3 to 6 is you're going to actually start to discuss, or not discuss yet, but actually go into groups and learn about what people are saying. So say if you are interested in, again, we'll go with the example of sales, and you want to know what's going on, what are people talking about, what are some questions that experts have. So you can go into Reddit, see topics that are trending, and then again get a better sense of what people are discussing and maybe what are some needs. So now we go into weeks 7 to 8, and this is when you're not just looking at these groups and what people are talking about, you're actually joining in these discussions. So either you go on Meetup or you go into Facebook groups. This is an example for Sales Talk with Sales Pros, where you can actively ask questions, you can post, you can comment, and this is going to help you build your network within the space, within this new skill you're developing. It's also going to help you, again, understand trends and what people are talking about. And from this, you can also talk to friends or colleagues to actually share knowledge with them. So sometimes you learn the best by teaching others. So say if you are learning a new skill in Python or trying to explain a for loop to someone else. Try to do that. Someone who doesn't understand. If you're not able to explain it correctly, your knowledge isn't there yet, but it's a signal for you of where you need to actually ramp up your skills and focus your time in. And by sharing your knowledge, you can also become a better leader. Now, one of my favorite sources is YouTube for learning. So YouTube is free, which is awesome. A lot of these sources that I've showed you are. And it's super easy to find content that's relevant for you. So how to learn about sales, you type that into YouTube. You look to see what are some of the top videos. I personally start with people who are checkmarked and also have a lot of views within that content. And then I just go from there. Weeks 9 and 10 is when you're getting more nitty-gritty and actually reading books. And what I used when I was trying to learn how to be a data scientist was going to Amazon, finding books that were highly reviewed. So I would type in something like how to do web applications in Python or how to ramp up statistics for data science. And from there, I would find top books. Also go look at items other people view to see other recommendations, and then choose books that way. Some of my strategies is actually, instead of sitting down and reading for an hour straight, what I'll actually do is read in increments. I'll do this by watching maybe my favorite TV show or some game live, and then in between the commercial breaks, it's like 5 minutes each time, read part of my book. As well, if I'm on a long car ride and I get to be the passenger in it, then I'll also read at that stage too. And if you're not a reader, that's okay as well, because a lot of these books are on Audible, and you can also reference other things like academic papers that have a lot of this knowledge but are a little bit more condensed too. Great, so now we're at our final stage, and what's the last thing that we have to do here to really be an expert? As of now, we have been consuming for 10 weeks nonstop knowledge every day. We're reading news articles, we're listening to podcasts, we're actively discussing in forum groups, we're also reading more in-depth books, and now it's time to put all of our knowledge together in one location. So this is similar to a capstone project. And a capstone project is a multifaceted assignment that serves as a culminating academic and intellectual experience for students. What this basically means, post somewhere on the internet and show how you're an expert so that you can link it back when maybe you go to a job interview or you're trying to get investors and you want to show your credibility. This will help you do so. So some ways you could do it, say if you're a programmer, go to Kaggle. Kaggle has online data sets, and what you could do is work with those data sets, maybe create a model from them, and then post your results online. You can create a blog, say on Medium, for free, and you can have your perspective and what the steps that you took. But if you don't even know where to start with a problem, how about you go find one? You could go volunteer at a local business or a charity and say, hey, for free, would you allow me to work on this skill? And then document it in some way. And of course, they're going to say, yeah, why not? Free labor? Sure, go for it. So what are the benefits here when you actually create this project of your own? Well, it's really showing that what you've learned and putting yourself as an expert, it's an excellent speaking point for when you go on interviews and really shows your credibility. And it's also, again, free to do. So some takeaways here is that continuous learning is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. After you finish a degree, you may spend $80,000 or $1,000 or more on it, but you're never going to stop learning. So don't get into the mindset of, okay, I'm done. That's not true. You need to continuously learn. Second, many quality resources are available for free, so there are no excuses. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on courses in order to ramp up your skills. You can do this for free on a lot of the sources that I shared earlier. And also, how does learning consistently help you? One, it helps your brain in general. But secondly, it enhances your brand. When you're actually able to put the work that you've done publicly out there on a blog of some sort, or maybe help through a volunteer project, you are showing yourself as a more credible individual in this certain skill set. If you followed my advice and still find yourself not able to keep yourself motivated, please feel free to reach out. This part is my jam. I love continuous learning and I love being able to help others do so and find their passions too and to ramp up their skills. Please reach out to me via email at arielherrera@analyticsariel.com and subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much for watching.